Lesson 4, Centralized Management and the Overview of vCenter Server. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to meet the following objectives. Describe the vCenter Server architecture. Discuss how ESXi hosts communicate with the vCenter Server. Identify vCenter Server services, components, and modules. Explain VMware Platform Services Controller. And describe the vCenter Server security. What is a VMware vCenter Server? Your vCenter Server is basically a management server designed by VMware to monitor all of your virtualized environments. So, with that being said, it's a service that acts like a central administration point for an ESXi host and their virtual machines connected to a network. It runs directly on a Windows box or a Linux-based application, appliance, and directs the actions of virtual machines and hosts. This is where you're going to manage them. This is where you're going to move them. This is where you're going to use vMotion. All kinds of cool things within VMware. But right now, the goal of this slide is to know that vCenter Server manages all the different VMs within your environment through vSphere and all the way down to the hypervisor, down to complete stack. Now, with that being said, vCenter Server Appliance is a pre-configured Linux-based virtual machine that is optimized for running vCenter Server and the vCenter Server components. It has a lot of advanced features, such as your Distributed Resource Scheduler, DRS. It deals with high availability, fault tolerance, vMotion, storage vMotion, and other cool features as we will pick up along the way. So, what is the vCenter Server architecture? As you see right here, this shows some of the components for your vCenter Server. You have your vSphere web client that you connect to from your user PC, which is here. It goes over to your ESXi host, to your vCenter modules. You can go to your storage databases, to your platform service controller, which control single sign-on. Get it to all your ESXi hosts once again. So it's used to directly connect to your ESXi host, which I showed you right here through the vSphere client, right? So we can directly to the ESXi host. Once that client connects directly to your vCenter Server, you can also use the new client to connect to your vCenter Server system, which, when an ESXi host is managed by vServer, the administrator should always use vCenter Server and the vSphere clients to manage the host. You have the database here, which is the most critical component, as VMware says. This is the database that stores all of your inventory items. The storage database that houses all your virtual machine items, security roles, resource pools, performance measures, stacks, and any other mission critical information that applies to your vCenter Server. Platform Services Controller, single sign-on. We all know somewhat about single sign-on. What is single sign-on? Single sign-on is basically where you have it integrated with AD and authentication is performed, and once you use that single sign-on server, it authenticates against multiple user repositories such as AD called identity sources, within an Active Directory domain. Manages your host, your ESXi host, which I pointed out as we started. I have direct access to my ESXi host now. It enables me to manage those hosts and the virtual machines that run on those hosts. So each ESXi host, I can have VM1, VM2, VM3. I could have 40 VMs, 30 VMs running on this one. Well, guess what? Through my vCenter server that I just accessed through that vSphere client, I now have access to all of this. Everything. Platform Services Controller. What is the Platform Services Controller? That system includes a set of common infrastructure services such as the vCenter Server single sign-on that are present under your vSphere 5.0, but there's other functions like internal certificates authority. Your certificate stores are now present in 6.0 and the subsystems designed to make vCenter more robust. So what do we mean by that? So it has a kind of set of common infrastructure services. You got your VMware license server. What makes it more robust? We got its own license server now. We have a lookup server. We have a certificate authority or certificate store. Our directory services. Where does that all point back to? It all points back to your vCenter server, which manages all of those infrastructure services. Features are installed into the vCenter server component. You can also install a vCenter server and Platform Services Controller on the same or different machines. We have a lot of questions saying, okay, can I install Platform Services Controller and vCenter server on the same machine or the different machine? Right here. You can install vCenter server and Platform Service Controller on the same or different machines. The vCenter server group contains your vCenter server, your vSphere web client server, your update manager, auto deploy, your ESXi dump collector, syslogs. But there's one important thing to note here. You cannot distribute the vCenter server functions across multiple systems. When you deploy the vCenter server appliance, all of these features are included. All of them. All of them are included. Okay? So, the ones that were included in 5 are the vSphere inventory service, the vSphere web client, and the vCenter server. The vSphere web client is not a client, but a web server that is based on what? The Apache Tomcat web server. In addition to that server component, it also includes the syslog collector, the dump collector, and vSphere auto deploy. Once again, let me highlight, you cannot distribute these vCenter server functions across multiple systems. When you deploy a vCenter server appliance, all of these features are already included. Utilize them. Health and the status of the services. What about the nodes across the vCenter server systems? The vSphere web client enables you to monitor the status of all that by going to administration, deployment, system configuration, services, right here. It lets you see the health of your nodes. We have critical, warning, unknown, and good, and not applicable. Same thing for services health, critical, warning, unknown, good, not applicable. It also tells you, if I hover over this services right here that are good, look here, it's going to tell me which services are in good health. As you see right here, we got all those services in good health. Use that to monitor your nodes across the whole vCenter server. Know what's critical. If you have a service's health that is showing, as you see right here, that's critical, hover over it, see what it is, research that error, research that critical message. What's going on with it? What do I need to do to fix it? Okay? What about the communication between the ESXi host and the vCenter server? The vSphere web client and the new vSphere client communicate directly with vCenter server. If you need to connect directly to the ESXi host, just know to use the VMware host client. Okay? VMware or the vCenter server provides direct access to the ESXi host through the vCenter server agent named, or basically the virtual provisioning agent, VPXA. The VPXA process is started when, or it started on the host when it's added to the vCenter server inventory. Okay, so once we add that host to this, or to the vCenter server inventory, let's just go vCenter inventory. Once it's in there and added, you're going to start this VPXA process, which is the VMware ESXi host. Okay, process is started, it's added. The VMware vCenter communicates with the ESXi host through the hostd file. Right here. Know that file. Remember, hostd, VPXA. Know what it is. Know where it's at. Alright? Know where you're at. Know where you're located. The good part about it, and I wrote over here to the side for a reason, because I wanted you to see just the ESXi host from the host client to here. And I wrote the vCenter inventory because we have it here. Look right here at the vCenter inventory, right up here at the very top. By me having access to the vCenter server inventory, use the web client and the vSphere client now to connect to the ESXi host. For clients communicating directly with the host, by passing the vCenter, they converse with hostd. The hostd file is what you're seeing right here. It's over TCP UDP port 902. That's when you're only using the hostd file. The hostd process runs directly then on the ESXi host, okay? So, with that being said, by doing that way, it is aware of what virtual machines are registered on that host, the storage volumes, and the status of all the virtual machine. Most of the commands or operations come from the vCenter server through this VPXA file. Alright, so when I say it goes through that, the VPXA file acts as an intermediary between the VXPD process, which is between here and vCenter server. It acts as a middleman in that process that runs on vCenter server, and then the hostd process to relay the task performed on the host. So when you're logged into the vCenter server system through the web client, the vCenter server passes the commands to the ESXi host through the VPXA process, which then allows the vCenter server database to be updated. So if you're using the host client to communicate directly with the ESXi host, all communications then go directly through the hostd process, and the vCenter server database is not updated. So that's why I would say get access through the web client, through the vSphere client. Remember port 944.3 earlier, TCP 443, 9443? It also still communicates through TCP UDP 902. You should now be able to meet the following objectives. Describe the vCenter server architecture. Discuss how ESXi hosts communicate with the vCenter server. Identify the vCenter server services, components, and modules. What is your platform services controller? Describe the vCenter server security.